So, well, we've got the teams run through, and we need to know where we're going to actually be playing. That's the next big step in this process, so we're going to go ahead and determine that right now. Clubhouse and Border, having been played in the last play days for these teams, not going to be played here. Ban phase already going out pretty quickly here. No Coastline, we got Cafe gotten rid of, and it's going to be Consulate. Okay.
So Consulate will be the map that we go on to. Still going to be a strong map, in my opinion, for DarkZero. In fact, it's tied at the moment for their best map in terms of actual wins on it right now. So it's still going to be a very strong choice for them. Luminosity, though, also, again, a very strong, like, their top map. So this is going to be both teams, I think, getting the optimal choice out of what they wanted from it, and basically going to be fine to jump into it. They'll be very comfortable in this situation.
Well, if it's top map for both teams, then the vote will be a little bit more pure in that sense, I suppose. What do you guys think? Who's going to win this? Oh, wow. Okay.
Not a lot of LG fans out there tonight, it seems.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is DarkZero. DarkZero have solidified themselves as, you know, online, they win their matches. They are right now they are kind of like the anti-TSM, you know, where TSM, they get the best of threes. They're always so good on lands and stuff like that. DarkZero always win the online matches, and everyone's thinking to themselves, okay, DarkZero, they've got that potential to, when they get to land, actually do great. It just hasn't happened for them yet.
All right, guys. Well, here we go. We are going to be jumping into the matchup now. And once again, it is going to be on Consulate for the play itself. So let us get into it, ladies and gentlemen. The first ban coming up now, Luminosity is on defense, so they will get the 2 outer bans. DarkZero is on attack. They get the inner bans.
All right. Okay, Thomas. It's going to be a Capital ban here to begin things, and that's not terribly surprising. Capital being the operator that he is, and exceptionally powerful at that.
Second ban coming out right now, DarkZero's attacker ban. As we've seen, it is going to be Jackal. Jackal, again, another operator we've been seeing banned out quite a bit, especially as of the last couple of months, just due to the very aggressive power that he brings to the table. What are they doing in the chat?
Hyena is like, I don't know these guys. I'm not with them. Mira gone, and probably an Echo and a Maestro to figure it out.
One of those two, yeah.
It's always one of those. If we see both of them played, and we have seen both of them played, actually, in the past, but it would just be a little bit weird. And, okay, a little bit weird. But
so it always goes wrong, so we just assume it's, you know.
Right. It's like, it's going to be one of the most predictable bans. Nope.
Someone's listening.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, actually, Valkyrie, I kind of like a Valkyrie ban more on Consulate, and here's why. You're going to bring the IQ no matter what, right? Because you have to bring her either to counter the Valkyrie or to counter the Echo. But the Echo is going to be on the ceiling. The Valkyries can be anywhere outside. So I think that's probably the right call there for that final ban from Luminosity. I agree with that, actually.
And so Luminosity will have the option to be able to use both Maestro and Echo together, potentially, if they'd want to. That'd probably be a little bit extreme, but they've got that possibility here. Right now, it's just going to be Maestro being brought in, though, as we're starting out on console and meeting upstairs. So we'll have a lot more room for him to be used there, mainly for intel.
You know what I'm seeing here? I'm seeing Hyper on Twitch, and I am normally hesitant to say this is a good thing, but honestly, Hyper has been that player, and Nyx too. Both of these players have been the type of the guys who are just getting the kills. They're making it happen. You put Nyx on an Ashe, Hyper on a Twitch, and that actually might just be able to outmuscle your opponents.
Especially if they're able to get some good control right from the start. Be able to swing in right towards admin and then potentially start swinging down the halls, and especially if they're able to get players from Luminosity to take duels against them, which is a possibility knowing Luminosity's playstyle. So this could work out well for DarkZero. We'll see, though, as the setup is still going to be relatively straightforward for the defenders on Luminosity to start out in the opening round.
Okay. Yeah, setup pretty standard here. They brought a castle. That's the only abnormal thing, but it's not even. It's barely even that. Castle was actually when nobody thought he was good because they didn't know how to use him. Consulate top floor was where he started really making a stand as an operator that is relevant and that can be used to your advantage. And the setup that is being brought out from the castle right now is one of the very first that, again, started working its way into the meta. So nothing too crazy here, just, you know, a little bit of doesn't always happen on any map for that matter.
So as usual, we'll see the bucket up on top of the skylight by yellow stairs and knock out that top wall leading into the site. Gives them a good little purview to the inside. But as you guys saw on the prep phase, Luminosity don't really have much set up here. Hyper, in the meanwhile, is going to have to just swing away at this castle barricade. So we'll get that open in a moment. But oh no! We had a preset air jab that is going to allow for Hyper to be able to take out Rexen when he goes for that jump out.
Oh, could you imagine if that were from Bathroom? He would have had the drop to protect him as air jabs don't detonate midair. But it just didn't happen, so Rexen goes down for free, and Hyper eats a little bit of damage before the air jab actually detonated, but not enough to matter. Ooh, nade goes in, but the shot lands as well, so it's a trade. A beautiful shot there from Thomas, and another run out there will be punished by Nyx. Factor does manage to get Hyper. So 2 trades in rapid succession. Luminosity still man disadvantage because, well, it was a 1-for-1 in both cases.
You can definitely tell this is a Luminosity game, though, from the way the first round has gone so far here, as they try to get aggressive multiple times against DarkZero. Mixed results at the end of the day, though, so things will only start out at a 3v2. Advantage to DarkZero. Now we're going to have to see Doodle, along with Hyena, try to hold this off, which is the 2 of them, holding in the sights mainly.
Put some reinforced doorways on the back there, some barricades set up, so they know they can just focus on the actual take without worrying about a late flank from the attack. Mozzie, ooh, Doodle getting a lot of information there on his drone. He just determined that there were 2 people pushing up from yellow, and he might even see the last one on rappel.
He should have gotten the information from all 3 of them. So Luminosity has got the number right now from DarkZero. They know exactly what they're going to do. Now it's just in the execution and countering it back out. They know what not to peek. They know what to get ready to counter out. You can see they're set up perfectly for this. Hot and Cold, though, is going to move around, sneak into it, and Mint, it seems as though, was not able to catch that player from the other side of it. We are going to see the Maestro laser start shooting into Hot and Cold. It's not going to do the damage. Oh, no, it does actually take him down. And in just a second here, they might be able to finish him off, but he might also get behind cover in time. Yes, he does get behind the wall, so they won't get the finisher off, but it does still end up getting confirmed by Doodle regardless, so we're into a 2v2. However, Diffuser is now down. The clock is ticking against Luminosity's favor. They need to get onto this soon, and those post plants for DarkZero are going to be oh so strong. I don't know if Luminosity has a real way to fight back against this.
Hyena gonna have to do some serious work as he retakes into yellow. Doodle gets his 2nd kill there onto Mint. Now it's all on Nyx, who takes out Hyena. The run out comes from the Mozzie, but the air jab denies it, and the Claymore finishes him off. What a holdout there from Hyper, and DarkZero win in the post play.
DarkZero, great stuff, especially when it comes to their utilities. Air jabs, just giving them every advantage they need, especially against 3 separate runouts that occurred throughout that round from Luminosity. Shuts them down on multiple different occasions, and, of course, gives DarkZero the lead now.
Well, DarkZero, that was a really good start. And, yeah, well-placed air jabs from the Nomad. You got to give them a lot of credit for that. They managed to protect their own as well quite a lot, and I honestly think most other teams would have faltered under the roam outs from Luminosity because we saw some non-air jab runouts as well. But the fact that there was always somebody there for DZ to get a trade was really substantial. And it's why DZ maintained their man advantage after they gained it early. Now, 2nd attack here, but will it be the same site? I did not catch it. Looks like it's going to be a basement hold here for Luminosity. They're going to change things up. I think that's a safe bet after that last round. DarkZero had a really good strategy put together to pick apart the way that Luminosity was holding.
And Luminosity specifically, they're trying their best to hold in their wins, and still a couple nice frags coming out from Luminosity at the end of the day, such as that trade from below Skylight on the inside of the site where he was able to pick up a kill onto the player that chucked nade onto him before ending up going down, but just not enough to leverage the round win. And also, it definitely seems like DarkZero kind of had the read as to how Luminosity was going to play that defense, knew their run out points, and had them trapped. So you can kind of give credit to the prep team there on DarkZero for giving them all the information they need to make that round a success. It's one of the differences here between an org that can give a team support like that.
Yeah. Luminosity playing their typical, hyper-aggressive self. They're getting... Well, if they find themselves in a position where they have the disadvantage, they try to gain the advantage by catching their opponent off guard. And it seems like I mean, we're only 1 round in, so it's kind of early to call this, but it seems like the overarching philosophy behind DarkZero's play in this match is going to be prepare for that over-aggression, and when it comes, punish it.
Right now, they've done a great job of being able to do that, and most importantly, catch those runouts when they happen and pick up at least one-for-one exchanges, even if the runout itself is going to be successful. Drone work to start things out, though, for DarkZero's. BC is just going to clear out the upstairs floor here. Looks like some members of the team have already actually started to push in through admin here, or have position just outside of it. So already, with a good amount of room to work with, they can also start doing a top-down clear-out with these two players before the rest of the team gets ready to move in on the main assault.
I like this. Again, it's the Ashe and the Twitch on the clear. It's others droning for them. So if they confront anybody, they will have a strong advantage in their weaponry, their operator, just, you know, being the players that they are. But you can't confront a C4 when it's tossed like that. Hyper's going to go down to Doodle. That's some good C4 play there from the Bandit downstairs. He's going to be playing, continuing to roam, actually, by the main lobby. He's got support from his teammates as well in bathroom. We've got the Jaeger of Rexon is actually playing in the bathroom, and he's going to be able to try and help hold that for as long as possible.
Pulse, of course, now in play too here for the defending team downstairs, who is incredibly powerful on this map, just due to the fact that he can nearly spot anyone on the inside of the building from the basement, due to his reach on the scanner there. So more than likely, Luminosity have good intel as to where the general attack is going to come from. That doesn't mean they can stop it, as they seem to have similar information the last round as well, but still could not pick up a lot of the kills when necessary. DarkZero, though, starting to play around with some of the players in basement. They've got the hatches open, and we'll take a few duels, but nothing to actually push them into the site just yet here, with a little under a minute remaining now, as they're still trying to get the garage door open. That's not being made so easy.
I really like what I'm seeing so far from Luminosity. They got the advantage early, and now they are playing passive. You could have seen Rexon take a fight there, but he decided to fall back, and that was certainly the right call in the situation. DarkZero are doing their best to regain at least manpower equilibrium or get the man advantage if possible, but it's just not happening so far because Luminosity are not presenting any opportunities. Doodle presents his opportunity to Hot and Cold, and DarkZero make a nice round even count 4-4.
You see in the meanwhile, trying to spam in against the wall there. He's a little bit off the mark. In fact, oh, there'll be a peek from Rexon in the hole that BC made, and it'll take him out from it. Rexon will push in, doubling down on that defense and take out Hot and Cold in the process. Mint will find a response to that, but still, it's a small gesture with only 2 seconds left. They'll attempt the plant. It's already been stopped by Thomas, and there you go. Luminosity win it on the timer, closing out on their first round.
Nice defense there from Luminosity. Again, it all started with that C4 upstairs. After that got the first kill, Luminosity said, wait, guys, we don't need to fight anyone on the roam. Let's bring it way back, but still try to delay. If DarkZero had more time there, they wouldn't have had to rush. So the fact that the roamers fell back, but didn't fall back all the way, just tried to avoid fights, it saved a lot of potential damage that DarkZero could have inflicted if they had been better coordinated on the site take later in the round, because they didn't have enough time to put out that coordination. So well played to Luminosity, the C4 leading into delay tactics, leading into wait it out, working out for them.
And so we will go into our third round now, where it's looking like Luminosity is going to reattempt the upstairs site one more time here. As it came close, but unfortunately couldn't handle the execute capability that we ended up seeing there from DarkZero. Too many players too early on. So another attempt at this one from Luminosity. And hopefully won't have to bring back the 2vx clutch this time, and even then nearly being able to pull that off.
Well, they haven't brought a castle this time, so angles are going to be very different for Luminosity. The way that they're going to have to play because of that is also going to be different. But the castle did not actually help the defense a whole lot last time they were on this site, so I can definitely agree with their reasoning here. The castle barricades, even to an extent, were hurting the defense more than helping, because they didn't have enough angles to deny the B site take. Now, the main problem for Luminosity last time they were here is that they went for a lot of runouts, and they were punished for every single one of them. They managed to get some kills out of some of them, but while they did, DarkZero still managed to keep the man advantage throughout the round after they gained it early on. So, we're going to have to see if Luminosity have a different mindset for this top 4 defense, less runouts maybe. But the big thing is that early pick, that first pick, whichever team it goes to, that so far has been the victor. So maybe we'll see some divergence from that, but it's not seeming very likely.
Well, Hyper already moving into admin starting to push through here for DZ now. They're going to swing through and start taking control in a very similar fashion to what they did back on round number 1. Nyx will be joining Hyper in just a second, so there you go. The team will start to stack up on the second side, or on the other side of the second floor, and allow for them to start pushing forward over towards an eventual execute here, whereas the rest of the team still needs to get into position to start getting themselves upstairs. It's actually looking like the large majority of them are just going to go in from admin side and try to push from there right now, because they don't have anywhere near the yellow stairs presence that they had going into the previous round. But they also executed very late in the previous round, so there's still a lot more room for DZ to change up this hit.
This is a different attack strategy outright from DarkZero. They were going for a CEO take last time, now they're going for an admin take, which are those are the two basic options that you have on the top floor. And so it's a little bit of an exploration here for DarkZero. It could work for them. This could be what causes them to lose. It really depends on how their attack strategy pairs to the defensive strategy that's being put out right now by Luminosity, of course. That's how it always goes. Nyx is trying to pressure into the B-bomb site. Gas canisters start to come out from the smoke. That's Thomas playing inside of A, pardon me. And he is going to have to delay for a long time, but he's gone. Hot and Cold has dispatched Thomas. That's huge. A very important pick. The smoke is gone, and the Legion dies downstairs as well as Mint is on flank hold. Then this is going to be really hard for Luminosity to hold, because DarkZero now have site control. Doodle doing his best to regain some semblance of control in this round for Luminosity, but he's already used his C4, so he can't even deny from below.
That brings us back down into a 4 versus 3 situation here. 40 seconds left, though. Pressure is on DarkZero to move in, even with the loss of Mint. And thankfully, they do have a lot of clearance here in order to do that. Nyx seems to think something is up behind him, and he's right to assume that. He's got a player, Doodle, right on the other side of this angle here. Doodle, is he actually going to push or not? That's the question, because Nyx still has to eventually turn around and be a part of this main execute going to the inside of the site. First plant attempt coming in from Houghton right now. It's going to go down. We do see Nyx actually able to find Doodle, so he successfully fends off that push, and also no one from the side of Luminosity really resists the plant here whatsoever. Rexon will fall pretty quickly after that, and Hyena now left alone, although he did down Hyper. It's not going to matter much as he's going down very quickly as well, and DarkZero once again come out on top here of the upstairs attack.
Well executed admin take there from DarkZero. They isolated the A bomb site. They managed to get the plant down, and all thanks to that early pick from Hot and Cold onto Thomas. If the smoke had stayed alive for a little bit longer, we probably would have seen a different round altogether. But he got picked in the first half of the round, I believe.
Yeah. It was very early on. He only used like one of his toxic gas grenades against the push from the Ash, and that was about it. He got knocked out pretty quickly after that due to the advanced positioning that DZ had. And so, obviously costing Luminosity quite a bit of that free time they could have been able to use.
I don't think, thinking back now, it wasn't the first half of the round, but it was so early in the overall take.
We still had 2 minutes on the clock, at least, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Or it was like 1 something at the latest.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
It was a very early pick, all things considered. His position, Thomas's position inside of that meeting hall, is the whole job is just to hold on to the site. And the reason it's a whole job is because it's actually really hard to do on that site. It's a very difficult job. So you can't critique Thomas for dying there. You have to give accolades to Hot and Cold for being able to hit the pick, because that's a difficult shot too. But honestly, you can't blame Thomas too much. Now, Luminosity going to be going to the middle floor now. They don't want to go to the top floor anymore, and I don't think they will for any more rounds in this defensive half.
No split site for them either. We had seen a couple of teams back at the Allied Minor be wanting to play around with the split site a bit, but not going to be the case this time. We'll just stick with lobby for DarkZero to attack onto as we go into probably what's going to be the last point here on the site rotation from Luminosity before they potentially try upstairs again if they come out on top of this one. Quite a bit of spam coming in from Factor there. He's not able to get a whole lot of damage, but he does chip down BC slightly, knocking out about 40-45 HP from him.
Yeah, okay, so that's the type of spawn peak that is so typical that you just don't expect to see it in Pro League, because usually it results in your opponent getting a free pick.
Yeah.
And not so in this case.
So it works out very well here for the guys on Luminosity, as oftentimes things do when they get aggressive here. It's oftentimes their style.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's Luminosity doing Luminosity things, and that's not... Honestly, I don't begrudge them that. I think that they should stick to what they feel works. And if that's working for them, well, okay. Hasn't been working amazingly well so far, but they did do some damage, so.
Luminosity in general seems like a team that kind of thrives under chaos, as we've seen from their LAN performances and, of course, their Pro League performance. And they definitely want to try to make that happen if at all possible and try to keep their opponents guessing as to what exactly they're going to do instead of playing some very well-rehearsed line out here. Hyper will deal with this Black Eye camera pretty quick, or Evil Eye camera, excuse me, pretty quickly, as he's going to be able to move in, just use 2 charges to knock that one out. And also should be able to, there you go, take out control of the Bulletproof camera too, giving his team a much easier job to push in here.
The second Evil Eye has been angled upwards. Now that means the Twitch drone cannot destroy it, because you can't see the open little shutters there. But he's also used so many of the zaps that he wouldn't have had enough anyway. So he's just going to disable it for a second there. Ooh, hacked drone for hot and cold. That's going to give some good information to Rexen. He can actually use that to replace the Evil Eyes that were dispatched. But what is this? Unattempted plant. Doodle's just going to stop that from above. Curious decision-making from Hot, and Mint will get a refrag on Tahina, which is a really big kill considering it's the Maestro, one of the primary anchors. But the position has been retaken, and it's not all lost for Luminosity, considering they now have the diffuser down in the main lobby.
Camera potentially still in position to get a good amount of intel, a minimum, so even with him going down, should be able to help them out a bit here, but they no longer have anyone to hold that bathroom angle unless they're going to rotate someone into that position. The lineup here from BC, potentially to pick up some damage, but is not going to be the case. We are just going to see a toxic gas grenade thrown in his place, blocking out access to the run-in from the balcony and continuing to run this timer down even more. Nick's in position to try and do some damage from the top of the spiral stairs, but Doodle is ready to stop this. However, he's not ready for Hyper to run in from the very, very top of the spiral, taking him out. But Rexen will get into position, finds Nyx for a trade, and keeps us even at a 3v3. Not for long, though. Thomas also runs to the top of spiral, finds Hyper, brings us into a 3v2 where DarkZero trying to force the issue here, but this is just not going to work, unfortunately, at the end of the day. Trying his best to clutch out, but it won't happen. Luminosity control the lobby site on defense and tie us up again at 2-2.
I really gotta respect the adaptability of, ooh, what a shot from Factor. The adaptability from Luminosity. In that round, they lost control of and regained multiple positions multiple times. They lost control of meeting, but they still managed to make that a presence in the round, where there was no plant available. Poor timing from DarkZero as well. Hutton tried to plant when the meeting control was not a sure thing, and he was just killed from one simple murder hole above him. Meeting control did eventually happen for DarkZero, but it was after they lost their planter. Then they didn't re-up the attempted plant. Also, they had roamers by spiral and in the bathroom hallway, still pressuring the site. Even though they got one of those anchors who was in the bathroom hallway, there just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough sure thing for DarkZero. Everything they tried to commit to ended up going the wrong way in just enough for Luminosity to leverage it for a man advantage. And they maintained that throughout the round. Every single time DarkZero tried something different, Luminosity were still there. They were still ready to maintain their advantage. And again, it's one of those situations where the first pick is the decider of the round. Hot and Cold was the first pick. He didn't need to be, but he was. And that's the thing that really irks me for that round, for DarkZero, is that they just didn't need to risk Hot.
Yep, and as a result of him going down, Diffuser goes into the corner. Luminosity then knows how to pretty much isolate it out from that point forward, and a crazy spree of trades upstairs ends up going into their favor too. DarkZero tried to kind of throw a fast one at them with the push upstairs, but same thing happened there when I believe it was, it might have been Rexen that makes the run out there and finds the trade as well later on in the round here. So here we go though, DarkZero out once again, attempting another basement attack. Last one was a success for them. We'll get to see, or excuse me, the last one was a success for Luminosity. And we'll get to see if DarkZero can come out on top of this one this time.
I think I really gotta point out for Luminosity in particular is they're always good at staying on positions, even though you feel like you've pushed them out. So like this Bandit, for example, he's probably gonna try and persist for as long as he possibly can. The nades are coming in, and most people would just run away here. But you saw the Bandit, while Factor couldn't get it, he tried. He tried, and he's still there. This is a Luminosity trait. They don't give up on things. A lot of teams, going up against DarkZero, wall gets opened up, Factor would have been gone the second the exothermic charge starts. But Factor's on Luminosity, so not the case for them.
Not the case, and now it allows for a little bit further control here and a little bit more of a dangerous push potentially for DarkZero as they'll start moving in to try and maintain control themselves. Now, Factor has given up a slight amount of positioning when compared to before. It still has a very forward spot, meaning DarkZero need to be ready for a fight the second they move in to that angle in order to challenge it. Nyx will also move in through the Visa offices onto the back flank here, stairs, trying to push down and take control of this himself. But as you can see by the silhouette there at the bottom left corner of his reticle, there is someone right around the corner from those stairs watching for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult push for Nyx if he doesn't have information. And, well, nobody's droning for him, and he's not joining for himself, at least not right now. So, yeah, information not in his favor. BC trying to pressure in the main lobby, cut off rotations. I think DarkZero are expecting and setting up for retakes right now. That's the way it seems like they're playing. But a C4 is actually going to be the one to get the kill. Factor from below eliminates Hyper. Perfectly placed C4 at that.
So it sends him flying, knocks Hyper out of the play for right now. BC still doing a little bit of reconstruction upstairs here, though, with the hammer in check. Trying to isolate out any of the defenders, but just not finding anyone. Luminosity still with 5, still standing strong and really in position as well. Not a whole lot has been pushed out by DarkZero yet. It seems with the utility, though, that may be changing.
DarkZero have 30 seconds, so they're going to have to start getting a little bit faster with this attack. Nyx is going to have to get control of blockers, or he's not going to have a lot of hope. BC, using one of his sledge holes, will take down Doodle in the site. Hotten's running around in the actual garage. Nobody challenging him right now. He could go for a plant, maybe, but there's also denial tools still in play. Nyx from behind will get one. The refrag attempt is failed from Rexen, and that's a nice reaction from Nyx. Thomas doesn't manage to stop the plant. C4 used on Factor, so that's not going to happen. Another one from Thomas, though, and Factor will add to the tally. It's just Hotten, the planter, in a 1 versus 1 as he eliminates Factor. Goes plant. He can make this happen.
Oh, no.
I think Thomas might stick this.
I don't think he knows.
No, he gets off of it. Pros don't fake Thomas. Why do you do it? He goes for a wide peek, and Hotten gets the final kill. DarkZero take another round. That's 3 for them.
And that is the downside, unfortunately, of our oh-so-aggressive Luminosity roster. Instead, assuming he would have been closer, would have heard the diffuse noise and tried to stop it, he tries to run out and proactively take the duel. And while normally that more than likely would have worked or have been a good play, under these circumstances, it's a very unfortunate mistake that cost him his life. On
this side, it was the wrong decision. The plant was on the other side of a reinforced wall, so the Thermite couldn't even see the angle on the bomb, or rather on the diffuser, pardon me. And on top of that, he... on this site, the attacker always goes far, man. Like, they always go far. It's post-plant garage Consulate. So, yeah, I don't know. Thomas had a chance there. I thought he might have been able to stick it and win it. He was getting pretty close.
He probably would have as well. It didn't seem like Hot and Cold had any idea what was going on at that point. So, yeah, very unfortunate, but not much they can do about it now. Time to move on to the next round, where DarkZero once again have the lead at 3-2. Possibility for them to tie it, though, but the problem as well is going to become Luminosity now go upstairs, where once again DarkZero has only found success so far throughout this half.
Yeah, and considering DarkZero managed to win on the basement just now, I mean, we're looking like a 4-2 here for DZ in the first half. That's a pretty good result for them. But Luminosity might show us something different here on the top floor. They've tried aggression, they've tried passive play. Neither have worked so far. The passive play was when DarkZero were going for the admin take. A lot more subdued Luminosity. Then when it was the CEO take from DarkZero, Luminosity were running out everywhere. They got punished. Neither times, again, really seeing anything work.
Okay, so coming down to the wire here now, at least for this half of Luminosity, it's their last chance to make an impact on this defense. DarkZero, though, have had so much success so far attacking this site. And Luminosity, first round, as you mentioned, trying to get aggressive against them. Second round, trying to play it back a little bit more, but losing the smoke so early on. A lot of factors playing against Luminosity when trying to go into this site now, so we'll see how they take a different note this time on the third attempt for this half.
BC looking for some free picks maybe on the skylight. He's going to put up a drone so he can react immediately when he needs to gather information. That's smart. He knows he's going to be playing on this, looking to nade somebody in the closet. DZ has just put him here so that they can deal with anyone aggressive in B. Now, it's not a position that's always played, but it's better to be ready. And that's what BC is there to be, ready. Now, he's going to continue to open up those angles. You don't need a buck, as BC is proving, in order to play this position. Most people will play the buck here, though. There is one player on yellow stairs. I believe that is Rexen on the Jaeger, which means he can juggle his ADSs if he has some in his pocket, but he's got to be wary of all these angles that DZ keeps setting up on him.
You have Nyx and BC now both up on the roof here. Nyx still trying to, it seems they're aware of the player in the corner of the stairs here, so going to try to burn the ADS down, get an actual nade into the corner, but as I'm sure you guys caught from the silhouette, our player from Luminosity, Rexen, quickly falls back so as not to get tripped up by that.
Now he's playing safe by the vase desk, or the big desk as well. And, well, it's been droned out. He could retake this, though. Again, a thing that Luminosity tends to do is when they leave a position like yellow stairs, they'll only kind of leave it. And then at some point, they might retake it. pretty quickly. The Jaeger's attempting to do that now as he rotates into Bathroom. There is one player on Bathroom Repel, and that's Nyx, who will take him down. So that was a wrong call from Rexon, and he gets punished for it. Air jab on yellow stairs gets... Oh, he can't look down far enough.
Oh!
Doodle starts running down the stairs, and he actually ends up killing himself.
Walks right into the lineup. Obviously, can't really fault him for that, given it's a very niche situation. But either way, nearly is able to escape just out of the game mechanics. Won't happen this time, though. Hyper will move in, finds that Evil Eye. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the angle to actually knock it out here, so we'll have to run away as he used another taser tag on it.
Ooh, Factors down below. While there is a strong man advantage for DZ, and it's the likelihood of them winning is pretty high right now. Factor downstairs could deny at least the first plant with his C4. In fact, it seems likely. There's a lot of rotation cut off here from the attackers. 17 seconds left. Pulse is actually maneuver. He's no longer underneath the site. He's looking to do something else as the pressure is coming on to the meeting hall site. Factor gets mint downstairs, so the roam hunt not working out for DZ. There's only 6 seconds left, so if the C4 comes at this point, it might be crippling. But he's dead. So Factor downstairs not going to be able to make it happen. Plant happening on 0-0, and it'll be successful. DZ now in a post plant with 3 still up. Hyena's position known, and it's going to be even more so as he starts to break these barricades. Not seeming likely that he'll be able to make this happen. Drone comes in to call out his exact spot. Hyena and have to retake somewhere. He has to commit to a push, or he's going to run out of time on this diffuser. It's like it's already happening right now. People on repel, people in positions where you just aren't going to expect them. Hyena is going to have to be absolutely insane to clutch this out, and it's not seeming like it's going to be the case. He's run out of time. Hyena can no longer win the round, and DarkZero will take another one. That's the first half going 4-2 their favor.
And DarkZero with some great success. 3 successful rounds now on this upstairs site for them. Winning it through a myriad of ways as well, trying to deal with a constantly changing lineup from Luminosity here as they try to win this. Finally get at least 1 point on the board for themselves from that site, but wasn't meant to be. So they only take that 1 basement round and lobby round as their wins on the defensive side into the second half, where now they jump on to attack. Obviously things get a little bit difficult for them, but knowing the fact that it's Luminosity might not necessarily be the death bell for them just yet, considering that they thrive under aggression. So we'll hope that the attack will fare a little bit better for Luminosity.
All right. Well, hope if you want a long match, see this go a really long time. Hope if you're a Luminosity fan. In this situation, though, DarkZero looking like they're running away with it. You know, one thing I would say, DarkZero presenting a lot of strat variation. The strats themselves seem to be somewhat rigid, but the players on DarkZero are doing an excellent job of adapting when it's called for. And given they're playing against Luminosity, that is often the case. So I really got to respect DarkZero for being able to think on the fly like that on the individual player level. There's also a lot of, clearly, as you suggested, and I agree with you, a lot of prep work that's being going into this match for DarkZero, as they are ready for Luminosity's aggression when it comes out. Those air jabs, and just in general, the setup from DarkZero, it seems like they understand what they're up against. And that's a good thing to have on a team, and you would expect that to be the case in every Pro League match, but it's actually not. So, props to DZ. Now, we're not done yet. As much as DZ have been playing a good match, Luminosity's players also have the ability to adapt, and they have been doing a great job at fiercely getting those 2 rounds that they managed in the first half. And I think that there's definitely good potential for them to come back here on attack.
Came very close on at least a couple of the rounds that they ended up losing as well. So this is a much closer game, in my opinion, than the score necessarily tells. Just right now, DarkZero, from a strategy perspective, won the first half just purely on what they were executing upon alone. And Luminosity didn't seem to have the counter intel to try and swing that back around in their own direction. Now, however, they get to control the pace of the round, more than likely here from the attacking side.
Yeah.
And that's when maybe they can try to put DarkZero into some much more awkward situations that they can try to squeak a win out of.
Yeah, that is a really big tool for Luminosity especially. Now, Soda hold here from the defense. We've seen this strategy from a number of teams recently. It is a way to hold the admin office. You cannot really hold admin office as a defender. I mean, you could try. It's very likely not to work for you. It's a huge risk. But what a lot of teams will do on defensive top floor is hold on to Soda machines. Soda machines, or just Soda, is just some very tight angles that actually favor the defenders. But since Factor has taken down Nyx early on, that might not be hard favor in this case. I like the shield that the Maestro's hiding behind right now, as he can add a third angle to this hold overall. With the Soda player gone, though, he's going to have to think about falling back. Factor's getting a little aggressive, and he'll get a second kill there. That's actually almost a freebie, as BC timed that not great, to be honest.
Gets caught pretty much exactly when he runs out behind that deployable shield. That was set up specifically to take that fight. More than likely just a little bit of frustration as well there from BC out of the timing for the way that that one worked out. So a bit unfortunate for him. Luminosity, that will thrive under these circumstances, and are still going to be getting ready. As you can see, Factor's got the wall across the stairwell opened up. That gives him full purview into the site. Piper, though, finally striking here for DarkZero as he's able to take down Doodle. And your second kill being found there by Hot and Cold knocks down Factor and evens us back out into a 3v3.
Suddenly DarkZero, much better spot. It looked like Luminosity had everything going their way, but they didn't solidify their control. They got some picks early on by Soda, but then they left it and allowed a rotation from the Mozzie. Though Thomas on connector repel is going to get one, as well as Hyena onto Mint, leaving just Houghton, who's in a really bad spot and on low HP. Rexon will finish him off, and Luminosity, first round, second half, they managed to get another one. They're closing that gap.
Good pacing on that as well from Luminosity. Obviously, general trend you see in Siege is teams taking very slow executes and usually using pretty much all the time available to them. Luminosity is one that oftentimes will shy away from that a little bit more as they get a bit of a quicker execute going into their favor. And after some trades, they are able to come out on top of it as they fish DarkZero out of their more hard lock positions. And in the gun duels, Luminosity definitely wins the large majority of them for this round, giving them that first point on attack.
The big thing for me that we're in for DarkZero that went wrong in that round was their Soda hold. I mean, usually the Soda hold, you're okay. The attackers will eventually take it. It'll take them much more time than just giving them Soda. And usually you're going to go even with them in terms of man count. Like the player playing in Soda will get one pick, and then the other guy will fall back, and then, okay. But he'll die after that. So it's an even man count 4-4. But in this case, DarkZero lost a man early on the Soda hold. Then BC tried to stay there. He tried to enact some change. He tried to bring around the man count, but nobody peeked him until he started to rotate away, until he's like, okay, I'll just play it on time. And then, okay, it's a two-man advantage suddenly for Luminosity. And even then, DarkZero started to fight back. They might have been able to win that round. They ended up giving away too many icks, and it just didn't happen. So props to Luminosity for keeping the momentum going in their favor despite it narrowly being the case.
5 seconds left before insertion.
And we almost saw DZ bring that back.
Almost.
Yeah.
Definitely was fighting there towards the end of it after those trades to bring us down into a 3v3. But yeah, Luminosity, again, having great intel, it seems, for that execute as well, are able to kind of barnstorm in towards the end of it and pick up those last 3 kills, just hunting out the DarkZero players one by one. No trades against them past that 3v3 as well. It was the flawless takedown in order for them to close out onto it. So great stuff from Luminosity. Like I said, gun duels definitely seem to be favoring them so far on attack, but that's just one round, so that could very easily change going into especially a basement attack now that Luminosity have to go up against.
Now, they're going to have to get this wall open. You can see that's their main priority. Double Claymores there on the yellow runouts, both the window and the door. One battery free place, which means there will be bandit tricking. Rexon trying to stop that with the EMP. So it's going to be EMP, then Rexon's lifeline to deny the bandit. Oh, Houghton actually had a chance, but he didn't stick to it. Second lifeline comes out, though, and that would have stopped him in all likelihood. But there was a window to plant an exothermic charge. Rexon gets a Claymore kill on the Hyper, who attempted to run out from the yellow window. That usually is a good way to bypass the Claymore that is placed in the doorway, but there were 2 there. So it's a free kill for the attack, and the wall opened up. This is looking good for Luminosity.
Mint has been forced back from the yellow stairs corner as well, so no longer has a secure hold. And in a moment, unfortunately, is not going to be able to provide too much resistance besides just intel. So Mint is going to take a position where he can actually use his weapon on the Clash a little bit more before, now actually going back out, taking the open position anyway to just play and give the intel over, as well as just be a general annoyance here for the Luminosity roster as they continue to try and take control.
Luminosity knows they have a lot of time, so they're going to be using that to gather info. That's what they're doing right now. They're not going to rush themselves. There are a lot of roamers upstairs. Oh! Houghton down. Air jab. It was an air jab that put Houghton on the floor. We just didn't hear it. Nyx tries to get the refrag, and he puts a lot of damage onto Doodle, but he doesn't manage to get the kill. DarkZero are losing their grip on this round, and Luminosity are solidifying theirs. It's looking like we're going to a 4-4 at this moment, but there's still plenty of time for change to happen in this round.
Now, they haven't dealt with that bathroom player yet, so DarkZero does have a slight angle they can use, especially with the assistance from Mint, because Mint can give very precise calls, but no, Factor still gets the better of it. Maestro Eye is still up and ready to go, though, so Evil Eye will do some damage, but it'll be quickly taken out. Factor will continue to frag for Luminosity, and at the end of the day, they will end up with a flawless round on the attack. Luminosity coming alive here on the attacking side, and DarkZero so far absent from this defense.
Oh, you got to really be impressed there by Luminosity on that attack. It wasn't just a flawless round. It was a flawless execution. The way that they took into the site was very well thought out. They were not clearing out the roamers, which usually is going to hurt your attack so much that you cannot recover. But what they did is put Doodle on Repel by Piano. And because he had his air jabs, because he's a nomad, he could do that solo. No one had to be taken away from the garage take. So be impressed by Doodle's play, be impressed by Luminosity there, but it wasn't the only factor that went in their favor. Yeah, they can deny the piano control with one repel and one player, but also their take into the garage itself, it saw no fatigue and no real stress because the Lifeline EMP combo, while coordinated on the garage, was executed at the very beginning of the round. Now granted, Houghton did have a moment there where he possibly could have put down a Bandit Battery. Might not have changed anything, but yeah, it might not have changed anything. Honestly, Luminosity's execution there was, I mean, it was great. And DarkZero didn't have the tools to stop it.
If anything, we would have just looked at a round that ended like 30 seconds later. That would have been the main difference, basically, it seems.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, at the most 30 seconds. I would probably imagine 15. But yeah, no, that was a good execution from Luminosity. I think DZ should be wary of defending the basement again. And if they do, they need to change how. Because Doodle being able to control the above site presence by himself cannot be allowed.
So we are going to end up in a lobby piano hold now for DarkZero, meaning there's going to be a decent amount of upstairs presence. You can see Hyper setting up for his own defense now, and he's not alone. BC, along with one other player, I believe it's Nick, grouping up with him upstairs here to try and hold that. And as well, this will make access to the actual sites themselves a lot more difficult for Luminosity, as if they try to plant, well, you've got a lot of destructible floorboard to work with from the upstairs area there. DarkZero can easily shut down those plant attempts. The basement's a bit of a different beast, though, and is oftentimes a conduit for attackers to get into this building and kind of insert themselves in places where they otherwise would not be able to get access to it. That's what Factor is going to try and do now.
Okay, so this is weird positioning from Luminosity, but it also, I mean, it could work. So in the past, there were two different ways that you would hold the middle floor. A lot of people would defend it from bottom floor or top floor. You do both. But bottom floor kind of fell out of favor for the defenders, but it's still an opportunity for the attackers to get into the site. Oftentimes, it's free, right? There's nobody really going to be defending that. So I guess that's really what Luminosity is leaning on right now. They're just hoping they can get downstairs and then maybe get a pick or two off of an unexpected push. I mean, they have the control downstairs now at this point, so that is at least step one done.
Hyena still doing quite a bit of drone work here just to try and make sure there's no yellow stairs presence that they'll have to worry about in late round should they execute in that direction. They will find the bathroom player holding out and can try to work towards eliminating him. The rest of the team now still actually pretty timid about this one. We are going to see some of those track stingers go down just on the outside of Visa to try and restrict more rotation and give our attackers a bit more room to work with. Rexon as well, trying to force out a duel here. He knows that some of the roaming presence is holding right behind that wall. But yeah, at this point in the round, still 1 minute and 16 seconds left. No reason for DarkZero to force the fight.
We just heard an air jab detonate, but we don't know where it is. That should give information for Luminosity, though. Oh, bad timing there from Factor, and he goes down to Mint as Nyx also takes out Doodle. There are some attackers on site right now, but they cannot plant. They don't have enough control to make that happen. So definitely not the most well-thought-out strategy from Luminosity so far. I'm sure they're expecting this push to get more kills in its actual overall take. From above, Houghton doing a lot of damage. He was trying to shoot the floor. That's really curious. It's not penetrable. Hyper will take down Rexon as well. We're looking at a flawless round to answer a flawless round, as it's now Hyena, the last attacker, and there it is. DarkZero answered their flawless earlier with a flawless of their own. It's very impressive.
Both teams definitely giving us a interesting share of rounds right now as Luminosity fails to get things started on that attack, failing to clear out the roamers upstairs, as well as failing on the outright attack they try to do towards the end of the round. DarkZero will take that in stride as they'll finally claim a defensive round for them, and interestingly, we are actually going to get a split site here, going to Archives and Tellers instead of re-attempting that basement.
Yeah, well, the main lobby worked out really well for them, so I'm assuming they're just thinking to themselves, all right, we want to go somewhere that's not basement.
Yeah.
Everywhere that's not basement has been pretty okay for DarkZero so far. Now, we are going to be seeing the new site, or I say new, it's actually old at this point, but it's the newest addition to this map.
Attackers need to
Though it is
locate
very
and defuse
late
as many
in the
bombs.
match, so it could be at this point that we see Luminosity be prepared for something like this.
Yeah.
You bring out your pocket strats in a situation where you're not necessarily on the back foot, but they're right around the corner from match point. It could work out for DarkZero in a tremendous way, but it also could be a free round for Luminosity, and then we go to even.
DarkZero, I think, mainly trying to avoid, as you were mentioning, the basement play as well as any of the potential upstairs play, too, that didn't fare that well for them. Allowed for Luminosity to once again get started here, bringing them back into the game very quickly. Remember, this is a 4-2 scoreline at halftime. Luminosity have already brought it back and are just one behind DZ at this point. And it's likely that they'll be able to pick up more rounds, especially if we end up going back to that basement. But I'm sure DarkZero is going to try and do everything in their power to avoid that, just because of how one-sided it seemed into the favor of Luminosity. Here we go, though. They are out and ready to attack, and they will have to figure out how to approach this split site, as it is a bit of a curveball that DZ are going to try to throw at Luminosity, but not one that is totally uncommon at this point. Quite a few teams, I mentioned it earlier, started to experiment with this a few months ago, so it's more of an expected play these days, I think.
Yeah, I think they're going to get used to it. Pretty much everybody has. I know that most teams have, if they're familiar with Consulate, they like Consulate, they've at least scrimmed or dry run how to attack or defend this site a couple times. So it's starting to work its way in. It's just not a staple yet. And it's, it's only been, probably about 8 months or something like that. It's been a long time since they added this in, to be honest. Might even be like around a year. But yeah, that's for Pro League, that's not a lot. They tend to be slow on the new sites and picking them up and getting used to them. Luminosity taking control of the top floor right now as their main priority. They've done that. They've accomplished that mission. And with that, they can open up above tellers. A lot of teams will go for rush strategies on this site. They'll try to gain just a little bit of control, like directly above the site, and then they'll just rush in. And that might be what we see from Luminosity as they start to cut off rotations downstairs.
Hyper is going to strike first this time, though, finding Doodle and the Nomads specifically to take that out of the picture early on. Attackers, though, still with control of the second floor, will start to be able to move in here relatively soon. They are trying to funnel out some of the positioning downstairs and see if that gives them an opportunity for a kill, but it's not looking likely. A little bit of drone work there from Rexon will isolate out one of the players from DZ. Not proving the easiest thing in the world to find out where the rest of these guys are, though, as they try to jump in there.
So not only the first pick for DZ, but also no refrag. It's just not happening here. And that, as the time continues to dwindle away, is going to get worse and worse. Nyx eats a lot of damage there, but so does Factor as they are challenging each other. Factor is in a good spot here. He can do a lot of work from the bottom of these Visa stairs, or I suppose the middle Visa stairs. But he is also very pressured by the players in sight. There's also somebody by the soda machine inside of Visa. This might be unknown to Luminosity. Hot and Cold could do a lot of work from here. This is a very uncommonly played position, but he's got an immediate retreat in the drop down. Oh, he's got information as well on the camera, which has not been shot yet. He decides to drop, doesn't even challenge. Assumes his position has been given away. Probably the safe call. Mint from below is going to get a shotgun blast into Rexon, and that'll be the first kill on this site take. The castle has just retreated into the hallway. Thanks to his barricade, he's protected, but Thomas gets the refrag eventually. Luminosity has control over Spiral. The plant, though, needs to go down with only 15 seconds left. Hyena going to be eliminated by Hyper as he attempts to get even more control by Spiral. It doesn't work out for the attack, and DarkZero secure an off-site win.
Luminosity seeming to have the control they needed to be able to get the plant. That would not be the case. So many dark surprises waiting around the corner, it seemed, for Luminosity as they tried to clear out the rest of that hold on the first floor. Still, of course, had the basement players to deal with, but it didn't seem like they were going to be a huge threat to the plant. After that initial pop, they knew how to deal with that, but it was the two other players waiting around the wings, both the castle along with the Mozzie sitting in the stairs, that ultimately trips up Luminosity on that attack and allows for DZ to get up to map point first.
The thing that I really noticed there for DZ, and I'll ask them about this if we get to an interview. Right now we're on match point, but could be a draw still for Luminosity. One thing I noticed there is that DarkZero, they had a lot of positions they were playing on tellers that nobody else plays. Just nobody. Nobody's playing in Visa as the Maestro. Nobody's playing as the castle in that hallway. typically players will, and teams will fall off of that. So it seems like what allowed DarkZero to win that was they carved out new spots to hold on the off-site, and spots that people just typically don't go to. And it didn't seem like the attack Luminosity expected it. Now that DarkZero have won that, they're going to get to go to a different site. They'll go upstairs. And, well, DarkZero have, if my memory serves me correctly, DarkZero have had a good run on the top floor in the past.
We'll see if that is going to be enough to be able to give them the edge itself to close out this matchup.
It serves me incorrectly. They lost this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were, but not that.
It was a lot closer.
It was closer than I think we expected. They lost it due to some really poor positioning and timing over by Soda Machine.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, and they're not doing it anymore, so...
It's also the fact that LG got everything cleared out like super early too, so LG just had like all the time in the world to execute in that round.
Yeah, LG's really good at that. They get the control early on, and then from there they can do whatever they want. You know, they just a quick jab, and then okay, they've got everything, and go ahead and maneuver from here. And it's because teams allow them to do that. I assume that's why DarkZero was going for the Soda hold. They were trying to not allow LG to take too much control for free early on, and well, it backfired. And now they're not doing it.
We are not going to see this, as you said there, we're not going to see the Soul Hold this time come in from DarkZero, playing much more kind of into the site. And this is going to allow for Luminosity to once again take some very early control, specifically on Rexon's perspective, who has already worked all the way through admin and is going to start rotating into Soda itself. So main hallway, they've got that to play into in a moment. Their teammates should also start taking up positions to start moving up those Visa stairs right to the back door of the site now, as the team gets prepared to set up here. Still 2 minutes remaining, though. Once again, plenty of time for them to play into. They can't drone into the site itself, as there are pests blocking these doorways. Hyena trying to push his way through this and figure out where that pest is, but they can't find it, so.
Okay, there's so many layers of the utility right now for DarkZero that are well thought out. That ADS protecting the Evil Eye. It's an exposed Evil Eye. Obviously, they're going to try and lifeline it. But, oh, there's one of your lifelines gone thanks to this ADS. And I think there was even another one protecting it deeper down. So I think it might have been destroyed, but I'm not sure. Yeah, no, there was an ADS. So there you go. Okay, good job there to that double ADS setup from the Jaeger. And protection is ensured. Now, what that means is DZ still has a lot of information that they can call on by the long desk. And Luminosity, while they have the control they need over by Admin Office and Soda, they have to find something else out in order to get an edge when it comes to the site take, because there are a lot of barrels pointed towards long desk, pointed towards Visa stairs, and you can't just push through these bottlenecks as Luminosity. It's not going to work for you.
Oh, we've got Factor still trying to line up a position for his team to push in. Stinger's going to end up bleeding out a little bit. The smoke, I think, also bounced off the wall, so it's not going to give them the room they need to push into the site. Nyx will also strike, finds Rexon finally after some delay of him having control for a while. We will see a few more trades, but it's still all in control of DZ right now. BC is going to be able to swing out, find his own second. Thomas will find Nyx downstairs, but again, the kills Luminosity are finding are small gestures. They're not these big kills against some of the anchors that they need to get onto the site right now, and this is going to cause some serious problems. Thomas under fire from multiple angles, everything onto Doodle now in a 1v2 situation, brings a player low, but he no longer has any time. It'll be expiring in just a moment, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. DarkZero are your winners for our second match of the day, and they will take the 3 points that come with that.
At the start of the day, DarkZero had about a 90% chance to go to Japan. After that win, they will accelerate those odds. They will narrow the gap for everyone else, and they all but guarantee themselves a spot in Japan in Tokonami. So good job to them. Props for that win. It was a closer win than I think the community vote would have suggested, but it was still a solid one for DZ.
Overall, still a very solid game, though, I think, from Luminosity. Just a lot of counter-stratting coming in and hitting them really hard, especially, for example, in that first round, as we saw, where DZ just seemed kind of ready for whatever they were going to throw at them, and they couldn't adapt to that and try to find other ways in order to take sites.
Well, job done there for DZ. And Luminosity, again, continuing to prove that they are a very formidable team. And as much as, yeah, that's going to hurt their chances of Japan quite a lot, they still have a chance. They're not out of the it's not out of the cards for them just yet. So they'll keep going for it, I'm sure. Now, our next match will be TSM versus SSG when we get to it, but before then, we should have, at some point, an interview with DZ. So once we have that ready, we'll throw to it. Lots of interesting things that went on in that match. Lots of good questions we can ask them.
Yeah, definitely to be the case for DarkZero, as it seemed again they had, like I said, the pretty good read from the first round, some interesting positions as they played onto the split site as well, which is a site that we don't get to see played too often, but it seemed that they wanted to go into it to avoid the issues of the basement and potentially the second floor, where LG was having success earlier on in that half. So overall, really smart game being played there by DZ to avoid the issues of Luminosity and kind of just skirt them to the side for a few rounds at a minimum.
Of course. We have the internet ready, or the interview ready on the internet, and we're going to be going to it right now with Nix. How's it going, Nix?
Doing good. How you doing, Kicks?
I am just fine. Thanks for asking. Okay, so one thing that really struck me in that match while I was watching you guys play is especially on defense, your utility placement. On attack, it was also very relevant with the air jabs, but at that last round, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but we certainly did here on the caster desk. We saw the ADSs, 2 ADSs protect that evil eye that was holding the long desk through so much. I don't need too many details, but who is it that is going into dry runs and spending hours figuring out where to put these things?
It's just us collectively as a team, I'd say. I played the Jaeger for the team, so I spent a lot of time as myself doing that, but we had a really good feeling that it was going to be an admin clear, so I just positioned all 3 ADSs for an admin side take, and it worked out really well. So.
Oh, excellent prediction there, and yeah, your setup definitely working out great. Now, it seemed like you had Luminosity's number for the majority of that match, but once Luminosity felt that that was the case, despite it seeing some all-right success for them in the earlier rounds with their aggression, they started to tone things down. Was that, did you expect that to happen, or were you expecting the aggression that was there and you clearly predicted at the beginning of the match to persist throughout?
Early in the game, we were running the Nomad, and we got a few early picks from their aggression. They would just jump out windows. They were getting air jabbed, and we would get early picks. So we assumed that they were going to continue it throughout the game, and they actually slowed it down, like you said. And it may have, they won a few rounds. I think we had a 4-2 half, and they won the next 2 on their defense. On their attack, because they played methodical, played slow, and played really smart. So LG played a really good game.
Yeah, they did. They certainly did. Now, one thing that really struck me from LG, so I want to hear your opinion about one of their attack strategies. They had an attack onto the basement where almost all of their focus was on the garage wall. They had one player affecting a lot of change upstairs. It was Doodle on the piano rappel as the Nomad. Now, as you know, being Nomad, he could do his solo thing and he can control everything by himself. Now, did you guys just not have any counters ready for that? Or do you think it was just a especially good execution from Doodle individually to hold that? And then the site take working out while he's managing to protect everyone from above?
So we knew that he was on the piano rappel. The only thing that really, messed us up that round was that I didn't know. I was in piano at that time, and I didn't know it was a Nomad repelled. So I told Hot and Cold to jump out of the balcony, and he got air jabbed, and it ended up getting him killed. So that was a really bad call on my part. I didn't know it was the Nomad. And I think that definitely affected us that round.
It happens. It certainly does. And, well, you did manage to win the match. But that's it for this interview. So before we end, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and those watching?
Just thank you for all the support. And we're just going to keep this going throughout the season. Thanks, guys.
Well, good job on your win. And I'll talk to you later, Nix.
Thanks, Kicks.